What is up, For Honor family? So we're going to continue that conversation about the different hero classes. And in this one, we're going to talk about the heavy heroes. So when you think of heavy heroes, what do you think about?
So this is what it feels like to be invincible. I like it.
You're thinking about heavy hitters, right? At least that's what I think about. And when you think about heavy hitters, you're also thinking about those type of heroes that can maybe take one to give one. So that's where uninterruptible stance comes in. But there are actually two heroes that do not have uninterruptible stance, and they are heavy heroes. Do you know who they are? Probably do. BP and VG. And I think that was just by accident that their initials match. So BP and VG are the only ones with no uninterruptible stance. So we're gonna go through all the heavy heroes. And I will say the heavy class is the second most populated class. Now, you're like, who's the first? You already know, it's the hybrids. So you have the hybrids, because the hybrids have 15 heroes in the class. You have the heavies that have 9. You have the assassins that have 8. And you have the vanguards that have 5. And I believe, am I missing someone? Nope, that's it. So those are the 4 classes. So that's what makes up our 37 heroes. The 9 heavies, the 8 assassins, the 15 hybrids, and the 5 vanguards. So I'll get into the hybrids. That hopefully this video is not going to be long, and that video I'll try to make that as quick as possible because I just want to touch on them. I'm not going to go through their kits and stuff like that. So for the knights, let's just go ahead and get started. The knights have 2 heavy heroes. Conqueror at 27 in my hero rankings. Solid hero. BP is number 5 in my hero rankings. Now, Conqueror was number 27 before the roll catcher. Obviously, he's a great staller. But let's look. It says strong defense and hard hitter for Conqueror. How appropriate is that? Because his defense is definitely, you want him on the point. Basically, that's what I'm going to say here. You want Conk on your point because he can defend well. Make sure you also choose, if you're just playing casual gameplay and it's not competitive, where you actually can use perks, make sure you're choosing the right perks for your Conqueror hero. And when we go to BP, BP is a counterattacker and protector. And protector is good too, because you could actually be attacking BP's teammate and you can get hit with the bulwark. So that's one way he can protect. He also has an undodgeable attack that he can throw from the top. I mean, BP is a monster, and especially in the right hands. And then we go to the Vikings. So for the Vikings, we have Warlord at number 33. I say 33, I'm just looking at Warlord's at number 22 in my rankings. I have him rep 33, but Warlord's number 22 in my rankings. They have him as a harasser, counterattacker. That's pretty appropriate because, you know, he has those crushing counters. So does BP, but this is what Warlord's specialty is. You know, he goes in that full guard, and if you try to hit him while he's in that full guard, he can just throw out a light as soon as you hit that full guard, and that's a guaranteed light that he gets. He can throw a heavy off of that too. That's not guaranteed. He can still like target swap if you want and hit somebody else. But Warlord has a lot of good tools. He has a nice bash that he can use to get that guaranteed light. He can go into that uninterruptible heavy because he actually has it, unlike BP and VG. Warlord feels like a balanced hero. Like anytime I want to play a heavy, a lot of times I will bust out Warlord because he doesn't feel as lazy as a Hitokiri. You know, so some heavy heroes can feel a little lazy at times, depending on how you use them. You know, Sohei's kind of difficult. I wouldn't say Sohei's lazy, but Sohei's just difficult to deal with because it's hard to guard break him and interrupt with a guard break in between his attacks. You got to be very precise to do something like that. But going on to the next heavy in the class, you got Jormungandr, who's a disabler and harasser, which absolutely makes sense for the way her kit works. Then we go to Varangian Guard, who's also a protector and disabler. So you know that protector for Varangian Guard, pretty much the same thing. She can stay in that full guard, and when she gets in that full guard and somebody hits you, she can still stay. She's not taken out of the full guard just because she's hit. She can stay in it, and if somebody else tries to hit her, she can just absorb that hit too. And with her feats, she can actually heal off of that, and she can heal her teammates. So that's part of her protector identity. And she's a disabler because once you hit her full guard, she can then throw an unblockable and you're kind of stunned for a little bit. But I like Warlock, and I don't think I told you guys, but Jormungandr is number 14. He is my 3rd highest heavy ranked hero. And then Varangian Guard is number 30. So going into the samurai heavies, you have Shigoki, who I think Shigoki is, well, let me go to Shigoki first. He is also a disabler by hugging you and showing you love. And he's a hard hitter. And it definitely feels like a hard hitter when he's saying, you know, I can't do his voice, but he definitely feels like a hard hitter when that unblockable comes and you might think that he's not gonna throw it, and then he throws it, you feel it. That's for dang sure. Now, Shigoki is probably one of my favorite heroes to play because he is one of the funnest heavies to play. Anytime I just want to have a little fun playing a hero, something about him, you know, I don't know if it's because he's so big and he can run that fast, or if he does the hugs. I think it's a combination of all of that, but it's something about Shigoki as a fun hero. So if you're looking for just a fun hero, light-spirited playing, you can play with Shigoki. Nothing seems that serious anytime I'm playing Shigoki for some reason. And then we go to the other two heavy heroes where you got Hitokiri, which is mix-up intensive and a hard hitter. Hitokiri definitely a hard hitter, and you say mix-up intensive because all he does is throw his heavies. They want you using those heavies because everything is based off that. Because you throw the heavy and then you can go into your Ray kick, or you can go into your Ray sweep. Now the Ray kick is immediate, and then you got the Ray sweep, that's where you hold it down and you hope maybe somebody dodges thinking it's the kick, and then you catch them on the sweep, and then you get a heavy off of that where you can continue it all over again. So that's where Hitokiri comes in as far as his mix-up intensive behavior. And then you have Sohei, who is Soul's Resource Weapons Master. Now, Soul's Resource, this was the first hero of its kind where he can gain these souls. And I like the fact that you can even do that in ones. It doesn't have to be fours. It's nothing special where he can get it, even though, of course, he has that tier 4 where he can automatically get his souls, which it's great if you want to populate that, because then you can have that tier 2 where you can get all your health back really quickly. But as far as Sohei is concerned with his, what's it called? I call it Benkei's Vengeance, because that's what this hero is. He's basically Benkei, if you know the story. And I'm not going to get into it because if you're watching this, you probably have been in For Honor long enough where you know. But if not, you can always check out one of my older videos, especially when we was talking about Master Katashi and that hero skin, Master Katashi and his hero skin, and how Benkei and them come together and how they fought on the bridge, 1,000 blades, all that stuff. But I'm not going to go. I'm starting to go down it because I kind of want to, but I'm not doing that for this. This is not the video to do that. So with Sohei, I like how you can get all those souls, and then it's like immediately almost one-shot your opponent. Now, you can't one-shot him, but you can come pretty close to doing so. But he's also a good heavy hero. And then we go into my favorite heavy, Jang Jun. It says long range and stamina regenerator. And it kind of stinks now because stamina means less in the game than it once did, since they're trying to kind of even out everybody's stamina, like the way Jormungandr used to be, and also Scent used to be stamina bullies, and they just ruined that back in year 4. And now with JJ being a stamina regenerator, it still helps him to get his stamina back a little sooner, but it's not as potent as it once was. But as far as long range, definitely. He has great range on his weapon, so you got to watch out for that. And what I like about him, he is probably the most, it's tough with Shigoki. It's like a battle between Shigoki and him as far as who's the most nimble, but the way he flows and moves, almost Tiandi-esque, but he's older, so he doesn't move quite as well as Tiandi. That's why I like JJ, because he kind of reminds me of him. So long range stamina regenerator. I love JJ. He has that unblockable that he can only do. That's the only thing I wish they could change with JJ. When he goes into that stance, the Sifu stance, he should be able to do something other than unblockable. Because everybody just sits back and is like, okay, are you going to throw that unblockable? Because if you're far enough away, you can't do anything. You can try to go and attack him. He can go and dodge out of it or something, but it's just not. Give him something else he can do in Sifu other than stand there and stare at you or throw that unblockable. That's all I want to see with him. One thing I didn't tell you, Hitokiri, Shigoki, oh, I forgot. Shigoki is number 17 in my hero rankings. So Shigoki number 17 in the hero rankings, a good spot for him. That was like just behind Jormungandr. And then you have Hitokiri at 35 in my hero rankings, very low. And you have to go understand my criteria. If you understand why they're that low, it makes sense to me, and it should make sense to you based on my criteria if you actually look at that. They're ranked appropriately, I'm telling you. Sohei is number 8 in the hero rankings, and then Zhang Jun I have at 25. But that's the heavy heroes. We'll have to see what happens. You know, the fact that only 2 heroes have uninterruptible stance is really not that big of a deal. They all have great tools. They all have something that you can kind of hang your hat on. That's the word I'm looking for. They all have something you can hang your hat on and be successful with. I like playing each one of them separately, but of course, just like any other game, there's always certain heroes that you just enjoy more than others, and there's no different in these 9 heroes here. JJ being my favorite. So thank you guys for tuning in. Till next time.